For more on this story, I'm joined by Armen Georgian, our International Affairs Editor. Armen, just take us through as to why this is linked with the ongoing war in Yemen.
Well, this is essentially a message that the Houthi rebels are sending to the Emirates, essentially saying to the UAE, you've got to stop supporting anti-Houthi forces in southern Yemen. Those anti-Houthi forces recently pushed back Houthi rebels in two key provinces in southern Yemen, south-central Yemen, at the beginning of this month. So I think the timing is pretty obvious in that sense. And that there's also quite an interesting regional dynamic or power play going on here, I think, as well. You've got to remember that the UAE and Saudi Arabia are allies in Yemen. They don't have exactly the same interests, but they are allies. And obviously, Iran is aligned with the Houthis. But it's interesting that for many months, the Houthis kept targeting Saudi Arabia while leaving the Emiratis alone. Why would that be? Well, it was pretty much thought that there was a tacit understanding between Iran and the Emirates, whereby companies based in the UAE would continue to facilitate the sales of petrochemicals that were important to the survival of the Iranian regime, so that essentially companies in the UAE would be helping Iran, and in return, so to speak, Iran would tell their Houthi allies, you can go for Saudi Arabia, but leave the UAE alone. So it seems that that tacit understanding has unraveled now. Is that because of these recent events I mentioned in southern Yemen or some other reason? I don't know, but certainly I would think that there must be an Iranian factor at play in these latest developments.
But the other thing about this is the use of drones in a region which is certainly far from being stable and certainly attacking key facilities. Now, that would be a worrying development for any government.
Yeah, I think it's a confirmation, really, of a trend we've seen in the Middle East the last few years. The use of drones in battlefields in Syria, Iraq, in Libya, notably, because all of these conflicts are to some extent proxy conflicts. So they involve big outside players as well as local militias. Libya's a case in point. You've got Turkey that tested its drone abilities quite effectively in many ways in Libya. And so all these conflicts have been an opportunity for the big players to test their drones, but also an opportunity for non-state actors, the Houthis are an obvious example, to see what their drone capacities are like as well, to see if they can shift the balance of power as well. And we've seen with the Yemen conflict that the Houthi rebels rolled out various drones in 2016, but then expanded that program significantly in 2019. Unveiling a whole series of new UAVs, which they said were homemade. They kept denying that the Iranians had anything to do with those new drones. But certainly what they're now doing clearly poses a worry, not just to Saudi Arabia, but now to the Emirates as well.
And certainly when you look at those distances, they're not short range either.
Exactly, yeah.
They're long range drones. Thanks for that. That's Armen Georgian. Now, at least 12 people have been killed